The veteran deliberately pushed the recruit against the nail protruding from the wall, and the recruit didn't even dare to say a word, until the recruit's head was bleeding from the nail. Then the veteran was satisfied and walked away. In Korea, every adult male is required to serve in the military, and in the army, anyone who enlists a day early, you are considered a senior. As long as you have the title of senior, your status will automatically be raised. This squad leader likes to bully newcomers for fun. Because Jun-ho is better looking than him, he invited him to try his own nail game. He was so close. Jun-ho's head was about to be crushed by a nail. He dodged the last one with great dexterity. The class monitor was not happy with Jun-ho's disobedience. He pushed Jun-ho down and got on top of him. He slapped him across the face. He even tried to open his mouth and gave him a mouthful of old spit. Jun-ho was stubbornly holding out against the class monitor. Because of the announcement on the radio, Jun-ho escaped with his life. The class monitor, who had a grudge, used the stolen lotion as an excuse to check everyone's locker. He picked up a letter from Jun-ho's mom. He read it in front of everyone. The class monitor mocked Jun-ho's mother, who was so happy because she ate fried chicken twice more. He even called Jun-ho's mother a beggar in front of him. Jun-ho listened to his mother's insults. Jun-ho's eyes became more and more cruel. At that moment, a man who looked like an officer appeared and saved him. He took Jun-ho into his office for an interview. The first thing he asked him was what color socks he was wearing today. A normal person would have been stumped by such an inane question, but the observant Jun-ho already knew the answer from the mirror. Not only that, Jun-ho used his life experience to deduce the clue that Park had been tracking the deserter for a long time. The next day, Park, who found the deserter according to Jun-ho's deduction, officially invited Jun-ho to join his deserter hunting team. Jun-ho looked at the villainous seniors, who were watching him from afar. Not wanting to be bullied for no reason, he agrees to Park's proposal. The day after he joined the team, he had his first arrest. A young man who was beaten for singing the wrong lyrics escapes from the army because he can't stand the nightmare of military life. Jun-ho and his partner are tasked with finding him and bringing him back to the army to await trial. Once in the target area, Jun-ho was ready to study the data to find the target, but his partner took Jun-ho for a slow dinner. Then he took him to a karaoke bar. Turns out he's a second-generation cop. He had used his connections to get this job. Every time he goes on a mission, he enjoys himself, even if the mission fails. For this second-generation officer, he's just saving up for the next time he goes out. The second-generation official calls his second-generation friends to spend their money. Some of these rich kids change their nationality to avoid military service. Some of them faked their illnesses with hospital connections, all of which Jun-ho had never seen before. Jun-ho got drunk as a new recruit. The next day, he was bombarded with phone calls from his commanding officer. The news on the phone made Jun-ho sleepless. The target they were trying to catch committed suicide last night. A young man was insulted by his army seniors just because he sang the wrong lyrics. He couldn't stand the constant bullying and chose to desert the army. Korea's desertion rate due to military bullying is at its peak. This led to the creation of the Deserter Squad, which specializes in catching deserters who left the army for various reasons. Jun-ho's first mission with the Deserters Squad was a disaster. Once his second-generation partner left the army, he forgot about the mission. He took Jun-ho out for a night on the town. After getting drunk, Jun-ho went outside to smoke a cigarette to clear his head. A man in black approached Jun-ho silently. Jun-ho thought he was a robber. He didn't realize that the man was just asking for a light. He was drunk and made a decision he regretted. He looked at the man's pitiful face. He gave him the lighter, but 2 hours later, the man used the lighter Jun-ho gave him to commit suicide by burning charcoal in a hotel. The next day, Jun-ho woke up with a message from his superior. When he saw the lighter he gave away in the evidence bag, the memories of the night before came flooding back. The heartbreaking cries of the men's relatives filled Jun-ho's heart with guilt. Jun-ho realized that he had indirectly killed his target, but when faced with the officer's accountability, the second-generation officer on the other side was still making up lies to justify his actions. He obviously didn't realize that he had made an irreparable mistake. After the officer left, he even warned Jun-ho to keep the fact that he took him on a shopping spree yesterday a secret. Jun-ho was furious at the officer's disregard for his partner's life. The second-generation government official was most concerned about whether he would have a chance to track down his partner. Jun-ho's anger at being oppressed by his so-called seniors since he joined the army finally erupted. After practicing boxing for years, he easily knocked down the second-generation officer, who didn't have any real kung fu, but as he fought, the face of the man on the ground became his own. Jun-ho hated his weak self. With his fists, Jun-ho woke himself up, but the consequence of beating up the army seniors was starvation and confinement. Despite the harsh punishment, Jun-ho's heart had never been stronger. The new auxiliary officer needed soldiers who could do real work. It just so happened that the father of that second-generation officer's term of office was about to expire. The auxiliary officer kicked out those who didn't do anything. Instead, Jun-ho stayed with the team. With the departure of the second-generation officer, Jun-ho got a new partner. The two of them soon embarked on their next mission. The target soldier chose to flee because of the abuse he suffered in the military. The last time he was caught on camera was at a subway station late at night. He stood on the edge of the platform in his uniform. Luckily, a passerby was able to pull him back from the speeding subway. Jun-ho and his new partner Curly don't dare to delay. They started the arrest operation immediately. This soldier must sleep with a gas mask, because he snores too much, but his comrades didn't think sleeping in a gas mask was punishment enough, so they poured water into the gas mask while he was sleeping. They all laughed happily at the man's painful struggle. After a long period of torture, the man gradually suffered a nervous breakdown. Unable to bear the pain, he chose to escape from the army. Jun-ho and his new partner Curly's new mission is to find the abused deserter. Curly led Jun-ho straight to an internet cafe. Just when Jun-ho thinks that Curly is the same as his last partner, the second-generation officer, but Curly became very skillful in tracking down the target. But the deserters were all aware of the counter-surveillance, with only the listening privileges given by the army. It's impossible to find him in a sea of people, so Curly and Jun-ho set out to interview the deserter's acquaintances, whether it's his first girlfriend, his classmates or even his church mates. They couldn't come up with a breakthrough clue, until the deserter's mother said that her son hadn't contacted him recently. Curly breathed a sigh of relief, because everyone who wants to die will say goodbye to their family before committing suicide. Now, it seems that the deserter at least didn't want to kill himself. Curly and Jun-ho started to reason with all the clues in their hands. Suddenly, a new discovery was made in the listening system. A familiar number sequence caught Jun-ho's attention. It was the contact number of the deserter's first love, but it wasn't her number. So Curly guessed that the deserter had subconsciously entered his first love's cell phone number. According to the IP of this account, Jun-ho and Curly found an internet cafe. The two of them checked the photos on the cell phone, and checked the people in the cafe one by one, until a mysterious man wearing a hat appeared in front of their eyes. Curly immediately gave Jun-ho a hand signal to arrest him. The two of them swarmed to him, but realized that he wasn't a deserter at all. When the scene was very awkward, Jun-ho looked up and saw the sign of the subway station across the street. He suddenly connected the dots. Every time a man is caught on camera or met by an acquaintance, it's at a subway station late at night. That means a man who has nowhere to go at night probably uses the subway station as a place to stay. Curly and Jun-ho decided to wait for the man on the line where he was spotted, and they found a sleeping deserter on the last subway train. It turns out that the man hadn't had a good night's sleep for a long time. In the army, even if he wanted to take a nap, his comrades would wake him up. He didn't want to kill himself after he escaped, but wanted to find a place to rest. He almost died on the platform because he was too tired to fall asleep on his feet. Curly and Jun-ho successfully brought back the deserter. On the bus back to the city, a call came in. The man, who had suffered so much in the army without shedding a tear, broke down instantly. These two soldiers tracked down the deserter to a gigolo store. Not only that, but they went to 22 gigolo stores according to the male gigolo's memories. Just when they couldn't find any trace of Handsome and were about to give up, his girlfriend came to the shop to have fun. Since they caught the last deserter, the two of them got a long overdue holiday, but even on leave, they had to go out to look for the deserter on officer's order. But this time, they only had to assist the chief defense officer in the capture. But Curly changed his mind when he saw the man in charge. This man in a suit is Curly's comrade in arms, because he stole the last piece of chocolate pie from Curly at that time. He was remembered until now. Curly saw that the man in front of him deliberately took away the home address of the deserter Hansome's father, immediately realized that this place must be more crucial than the address of Hansome's girlfriend they left behind. He had to find Hansome faster than the other party, and would never let the man who stole his chocolate pie win over him. So Curly and Jun-ho went to Hansome's father's house without stopping. Hansome, who was playing a game, was distracted by the incessant knocking on the door. When he opened the door, he saw the friendly visitor and ran away. Watching the panicked Hansome, climbed along the water pipe by the window to the roof. Curly Hae immediately followed, trembling, and began to climb the water pipe. Hansome was not a man to be caught. He and Curly started chasing on the rooftop. Due to the unfamiliarity with the props on the rooftop, Curly was severely pushed by Hansome and even flashed his old back. Hansome was mercilessly mocking Curly, who couldn't move, but when he turned round, he was blocked by Jun-ho, who came from downstairs to outflank him. The two of them fought with each other without giving way. Hansome is obviously a trained fighter. With all his dodging and attacking skills, Hansome forced Jun-ho to the wall. Jun-ho cleverly spun around and hugged Hansome. When he got the initiative, he made a run and dropped both himself and Hansome down the stairs, not caring about his broken body. Jun-ho immediately set up an attack position. Unexpectedly, Hansome suddenly attacked Jun-ho's unguarded upper side. One punch knocked Jun-ho out of his head. Injured. Two people rested for the night decided to start from the Hansome girlfriend to find Hansome's trace again. When they arrived at the department store, they found that May, Hansome's girlfriend, had taken a leave of absence. She learnt from her colleague that she and Hansome met in a gigolo store. Then May fell in love with Hansome. She used her salary to support him, and even lent him money to spend. So the two of them, who were on the chase for deserters, went to what their colleagues called a gigolo store. The male gigolo recognized this famous ex-employee, but Hansome's workplace is not fixed, so Jun-ho and Curly had to ask all the gigolo stores in the area. At the last one, they met May and others who came to have fun. Curly decided to pretend to be a male gigolo to get close to May.